Hey everybody, this is HD. Welcome back. It is time for game number 4 between Root and Evil Geniuses, and it looks like Root has decided to throw up Drooby to try to take down Hydra, who so far is on a monster kill roll. He has killed 2 players in a row to bring this series to 2-1 in favor of Evil Geniuses, and honestly right now Root Drooby, he's got a lot of tough work ahead of him. Momentum is on Hydra's side. I would even say if you had to put money down, like I think I mentioned this in the last game, I would put money down on Hydra. So this is going to be a tough and arduous road for Drooby. Obviously, Drooby is a very accomplished Terran player. I've actually had the pleasure of casting a game with him way back in the beta. It seems like a long time ago. It was about 8 months ago. And Drooby put a lot of work against Hydra. He made some really close games, some really exciting, entertaining games. I do remember watching a couple of them, and he almost beat Hydra a couple times. In fact, I think he has beaten Hydra a couple times by using a lot of Marauders. So that was obviously a very long time ago, about 8 months ago, and we'll see what happens this time around. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens. It looks like both players have spawned on Lost Temple, so the map is Lost Temple. I was actually expecting this to be Shattered Temple rather than Lost Temple, but it looks like maybe some of the tournaments, this tournament, obviously the SGL, maybe they haven't started featuring the new maps yet. So this is going to play a little bit of an advantage for Drooby, actually, especially considering the spawn positions. Very, very close spawns, and this ledge so easily accessible by dropships. And we'll see if Drooby decides to exploit that. We'll see if he decides to get early gas, go straight into starport, and then drop some Thors, or maybe even possibly tanks off at that ledge. And keep in mind, even if the Terran player Drooby decides not to go to the sky, he still has a pretty big advantage on the ground, what with the 2 players spawning so close together. Just early Marine Marauder attacks, early 3 racks, those are all options that the Terran player can use against Hydra. Hydra has also gone for 14 hatch here, so he's gone for very early economy. This is as aggressive as an economy as you can get early game without really sacrificing any major drawbacks. And we'll see right now if Drooby is going to try to put some hurt on that. It looks like he's going to kill off that drone. Nowhere for that thing to run. That was a dead end created by the Terran infrastructure. And now the first Marine along with an SCV is going to start to move out, and we're probably going to see some bunker action here. That bunker needs to go up right about now before the hatchery plops out the creep, and Hydra already 1 step ahead, pulling his 4 drones off the line, and that is going to force that bunker rush to be halted, in my opinion. Especially now that the creep has come out, it's going to be very difficult for Drooby to get any kind of a bunker erected in front of Hydra's natural expansion. But look at this! Drooby is going to be going for a command center here, and this command center is very, very bold right after 1 barracks, and even more interestingly, Drooby has decided to go for 2 gases after the 1 command center, after going for an early command center. So this is a very interesting decision by Drooby. Oftentimes when Terran players go for their early command center, they'll only need to establish 1 gas, but to go for 2 gas means that either the Terran player is going to go for heavy mech, or he's going to go for the air. And I have to say right now, based on these spawn positions, I really do favor some airplay on this ledge. You know, some Thor drops, some siege tank drops. These are all viable possibilities, and all of those do require you to have maximum saturation on the gas. So I do think that we're going to see the factory go down. There it is, and I'm expecting to see a starport come up as soon as this factory finishes. Meanwhile, it looks like Hydra producing some Zerglings inside, moving around the map. He's also got a Spine Crawler just for safety. This is a Zerg player wants to do this just in case there are Hellions coming. 1 Spine Crawler really affords him a little bit of a comfort zone when it comes to early aggressive Hellions. And it looks like Hydra hasn't gone for layer tech yet. I'm a little surprised at that. A lot of times Zerg players will opt to go for early lair because you need mutas to deal with any kind of drop harass that might occur on your ledge. But it looks like Hydra will not be going for lair, and maybe that's because he saw this early command center. He doesn't think that the Terran player is harvesting all that much gas, and meanwhile it looks like Drooby is not actually going to go for a starport. He's going to throw down a 2nd factory. So rather than going for starport, he will be going for a mech-based play, and I think we're going to be seeing some early siege tanks move out, possibly Blue Flame Hellions, like a mass army of Blue Flame Hellions. That is a very viable strategy as well. In the mid game, it looks like Hydra, though, going to sneak a couple of Zerglings right into Druby's mineral line here, and this is going to do a lot of damage, killing off a couple of SCVs. That's going to swing the momentum as if it wasn't already. The pendulum is already way over for Team EG right now. That is just going to bring it just a little bit closer to victory. And remember, if Hydra wins this, he only needs to win one more game to close out this series, because it is currently 2-1. The first team to achieve 4 wins out of 7 will be the victorious team. Looks like right now Hydra has a lot of harvesters as well, so really that everything right now just going great for Hydra. He got a perfect scout into the Terran base with his Overlord, so he sees the double factories, and in fact I don't know if he saw any of the Hellions, but just by seeing the double factories and by seeing this Tech Lab add-on, you kind of have to be prepared for either A, some kind of a mech-based slow push, or B, mass Hellions. And mass Hellions, like I said before, one of the most common strategies nowadays in Terran versus Zerg in the mid game. Terran players will grab their early expansion, they'll get a ton of Hellions, about 8 or so, and then as soon as Blue Flame finishes, they push out. And wow, unless Hydra has a Roach Warren up, he could be in a bit of trouble. He really needs to get a Roach Warren going ASAP, or his Zerglings are gonna be toast. I honestly don't see how he's going to hold this off. Here we go. Druby pushing out with a pack of about 10 Hellions. That is some serious hurt right there. Hydra will have to bring his queens out the line, but he has to make sure to leave a queen on the ramp, lest he wants the Hellions to run right inside his main. Druby right here trying to avoid the spine crawlers. Nice round by Hydra, but those Blue Flame Hellions doing so much damage, just puncturing right through the drone line. And now drones trying to keep the Hellions from moving around and about, so they sacrifice themselves to keep their brother drones alive. But it looks like I don't know, Druby, he killed off a large number of drones, but he also lost a pretty large number of Hellions. So we're gonna look at the income tab. We can see right now that Druby has really only equalized the mineral field in terms of harvesters, 44 to 44, and really I think Hydra came out ahead in that. I think Hydra held off that attack brilliantly considering the units he had, and now the Terran player really has nothing. He has no army units whatsoever. He's actually rushing, Druby's rushing right now to get a Thor out because he saw the Spire going up. I believe he saw the Spire. There it is, yeah, so no, that's a Baneling's Nest. He did see the Spire, I'm absolutely sure he did, because he's rushing to get Thors right now. So he is expecting, yeah, there we go, he saw the Spire. Muta's now starting to pop out. So Druby is rushing to get a Thor out right now to deal with the Mutalisks, and he's also trying to get missile turrets up. I like that. Really safe, really good play, considering he lost all his Hellions, but if you focus too much on Thors, you're going to be very, very susceptible to mass Zerglings. So Druby needs to be a little bit careful about that. He needs to combine his Thors and Hellions together. And Thor Hellion, one of the most powerful builds versus Zerg. Oh my god, Hydra right there. A little bit of miscontrol allows his Mutalisks to just get blown away. And about half of them now down to half HP. Hydra, though, still flying his Mutalisks around. This is very dangerous flying because there could be a Thor just hiding. And the Mutalisks do not have as much sight range as the Thor. Well, that's about the same, I guess. So Hydra needs to be very careful. Thankfully, Hydra is keeping his Mutalisks spread out. He's using the magic box trick, which allows the Mutalisks to stay spread apart from each other rather than clumped up. And that keeps them much, much safer when it comes to Thors from your opponent. And it looks like right now Hydra is actually establishing a third expansion. He actually had this coming up a while ago, but he's now starting to get that saturation going. So Hydra is looking pretty good. I would have to say that it's about an even game right now. There was one vulnerable weak spot, one vulnerable point in this game when Druby lost all of his Hellions. That's when Hydra could have counterattacked with a bunch of Speedlings, and he actually had a small squad, the same squad right here, just chilling outside the natural. But Hydra decided not to do it, and now I think it's a pretty fair game. It's tough to tell who's ahead because obviously it's 3 base Zerg to 2 base Terran, and I think Druby has got his air defense solidly down. He's got missile turrets everywhere. He's got a Thor at every single base. Honestly, don't expect him to be vulnerable at all to Mutalisks at this point in the game. And we can see now Druby is starting to transition into a different playstyle, Marines and tanks. So the question now is, has Hydra scouted that? I don't think he has scouted the barracks, but I don't really know if he realizes that there's quite a few Marines and tanks right now, and to deal with that, you really need to get Muta Baneling. You need to get a ton of Muta Banelings, and Hydra, wow, already one step ahead, has a ton of Banelings in the center of the map. and he's still continuing to harass with the Mutalisk. Nice play. Continuing to pump those Mutalisks out of all of his bases, getting large number of Banelings in the center of the map, but really Hydra is not that far ahead. You guys can see his army tab is pretty much dead even with the Terran, and this game is just going to come down to one mega push by the Terran player when Druby feels most comfortable, and it's going to come down to the micro for both players. We can also actually see that Druby is going to go for a dropship style backstab attack. I do like that, but meanwhile he needs to be careful because his Thor has just gotten surrounded by Mutalisks. Nice magic boxing of the Mutas by Hydra, taking out the Thor, and now the SCV's in trouble. Druby rerouting some of his Marines to his main base. At the same time, he's pushing out the center of the map with a ton of Marines and tanks. The Banelings rolling in. They have the creep speed bonus. It looks like the Marine's gonna get out of harm's way, and I'm wondering now where the dropship went, because I know there was a dropship at the center that was moving to backstab Hydra. There it is. So Druby has actually not even paid attention to this dropship because he's so focused at the center of the map, dropping comsats to kill off the creep tumors at the center of the map, and now Druby is dropping off his Marines inside the back of Hydra's base. Tons of pressure right now. Meanwhile, Lings and Banelings and Mutas trying to take out the Marines and tanks at the center of the map. Good spread by Druby, but that's too many forces for Druby to deal with, so he will have to fall back to the safety of his natural expansion. Meanwhile, though, Druby just doing tons of damage at this main base. That economy now favoring the Terran player, and Druby actually stimming up, will not be able to flee away as the Mutalisks have come in now, so those Marines are pretty much donezo. But wow, those guys were real good. They definitely made up for their costs in terms of, you know, how much they cost and how much the dropship cost. I think they killed about 10 or 15 harvesters, so that's gonna hurt Hydra just a little bit. But Hydra already, the ball just keeps on rolling. He's got Banelings morphing out right now. He's got a ton of them, and of course it's much easier for a Zerg army to rebuild than it is for a Terran. So Druby, I don't know. This is going to be a very close game. He's under supply compared to the Zerg army right now. Hydra coming in, picking off a weak spot right there, and kills off the dropship that was just a little too over-eager. I think that guy got out of the training academy just a little too soon. He needs to go back and get his flying license, his pilot's license again, because he was flying in dangerous enemy airspace and got picked off. And now Hydra, wow, he has brilliant creep spread. Look at this. He's even utilizing his overlords. He's got his 4th hat trick coming up right now, and Druby needs to get the gold. He needs to get a 3rd expansion. He's trying to get the command center up. Command center now vulnerable to those Banelings, but I think Hydra's gonna go straight for the Marines, and Druby needs to keep these Marines alive. The tanks are trying to shell the Banelings apart. It looks like a lot of Banelings gonna go down, but there's not really that many Marines left. Druby evacuating 7 of them into this dropship, but oh, not controlling the dropship. He could have unloaded, and he might have been able to fend off against the Mutilisks, but losing that battle right there could have cost Druby the game. Oh wow, I think Hydra now is really at a big advantage. I think Hydra has this game in the bag, and I think it's going to go on to a 3-1 in favor of Evil Geniuses. And the next player, yeah, Druby's going to GG out, and the next player to go up has got to be Kiwikaki. Kiwikaki is the last hope standing for Root. I'm sorry if any guys from Root are watching right now. If I haven't mentioned you guys, I guess Destiny and Doro are also very good. So I don't know right now. I'm thinking Kiwikaki because Kiwikaki has that great mothership build, and I really want to see if he's going to use it against Hydra. So game number 4 is coming up next, or is it game number 5 is coming up next, I believe, and it's currently 3-1 in favor of Team EG. Evil Geniuses. Hydra is just literally rolling around on full momentum, full steam, and we're gonna move on to the next game. HD signing out.